This video is sponsored by Gate.io. If you set an account up using the link in the description, you'll get 25% back on all your spot and futures fees for life. Gate.io. Good morning, everybody. Let's have a look at some of these charts then, shall we? My hypertrader seems to have got rid of a lot of my analysis, which is fine, I suppose. Sometimes it's good to look at charts on a fresh fresh eyes. So we've got no horizontals, we've got no diagonals, we've got nothing. We've just got pure momentum and itchy cloud signals. So let's have a look at these then, shall we? So just to complement the uptrend, which is still in play, for those of you who haven't or are blissfully unaware of it, basically what we have is a trend signal in the Ichimoku cloud, and a golden cross, obviously, with exponentials and simple moving averages. So these are the things that you look for general trend continuation. Obviously, that's the name of it, really. And if you get golden crosses and these trend signals, you normally continue with a trend. Obviously, the trend's been up for a little while, but it says that it's going to continue from this level here, which is around 27,000. So for us, we targeted 28,000. We've got that. The next one's 32, and I'd probably say the top is going to be about 38. And by saying that, I don't mean that we're going to reach 38. I'm saying if we get to 38, I would be very, very cautious that we could go any further in the short term or even medium term. So that would most likely be it if we get there at all. So I know some people just, probably just don't watch these videos properly, and they hear the word 38,000 and they go, okay, put my sell order in there, go back to bed. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are incremental levels on the way up, as there would be on the way down. 38,000 would be like the absolute peak. If we get there, that would be amazing. It's not unlikely. It's not highly likely. It's just one of several targets that we've had all the way up since the first target of 19,000 when we were all the way back down into the mid-teens. Anyway. But as far as this is concerned, all you look for really would be this Chiku span here, touching the price action. That would cancel out the trend. This blue cross this red, that would cancel out the trend. And so far, neither of those look like they want to happen. So as far as we would go on this, we'd say, all right, fine, let the trend continue, let it go. We've got the V-shaped recovery. It's all good. So as far as I suppose finding other things to be concerned about, this would be the only thing I would focus on really for now. The money flow index on the daily has actually reached quite high now, and we're sitting up here at 86.5. so that's high. It's not ridiculously high, but it is high. If we just go back in time, we can have a look at some of the higher reads that we've had over here. So we had one over here in August 2021. What was the peak like there? That was the absolute peak, more or less, give or take the absolute peak. And that was reading up at 94. So anytime you get into the 90s, you do have to be pretty concerned. Especially, well, on a daily, definitely. On any time frame, really. On a weekly, certainly. Weekly is more or less find the tops, really. They've done very well at finding the tops. Here we go. The November 2017. It was December 2017. There you go. There's your top. Another peak over here in the market. More or less nailed the top again. And this was the interesting one, really. This is where the volume actually did reach a peak. This was effectively a Bitcoin top, and then we saw the alt season, and then a rotation from the alts back into Bitcoin for the ultimate demise. So it's good at spotting tops on weeklies, and we're not there yet. So this is why I think 32 could be on the cards over a period of, well, it would be over a period of weeks, really, months maybe. But that's not going to be without some serious chopping action given to us by the daily. This is already at 85, was it 86? Anyway, the trend is still up. It's all looking good. So let's have a think about some of these other coins. We got Ethereum brewing the same sort of setups and signals, but not quite as strong, but still quite good. This is a trend signal, does exist. It's all fine. It's basically the same as Bitcoin. There's your not death cross. There's a golden cross retest, V-shaped recovery, actually as expected. The thing that we really want to see is some life on the Bitcoin pair, which is obviously not what we've got right now. We've got a death cross, more or less a choppy retest of the death cross and back down again, with actually a trend signal to boot. So this actually doesn't look good for the alt season, to be honest with you. This is not what you want to see. I know it's up at the moment today, but for any kind of alt season, that's not what you want to see. This is based on the daily, obviously. So we do want to see this turn around. Momentum has actually shifted a little bit on the 4-hourly, but it's not very convincing. But it is shifting a little bit. So let's just forget about that for the moment, because the market at least is going to be carried by Bitcoin for the moment. The dominance chart is still meandering, actually getting picked up on a 7 simple, but we'll see where that goes. So maybe alt season is postponed for the rest of the week. Maybe we can try and boil it down again next week, see if there's any more opportunities to enter. Well, of course there's going to be opportunities to enter, to be honest with you, the higher we go on this level. But right now it doesn't look like it wants to kick into fashion quite yet. Total market cap 3, looking like it wants to come down to support. So that does, I suppose, if you're looking for more entry points, could be good if you balance that with the dominance chart. But let's have a think about actual traditional markets themselves. So the euro still in an uptrend, still doing its V-shaped recovery just like everything else, but a rejection from the top of this area where we basically pulled back from before. A breakout from here was actually going to be a solid breakout. This has been a decent move for the euro all the same. From the bottom to the top, there's 3.5% move, something that's basically a wrecked chart with a central bank who don't know what to do. Yeah, I mean, it's an uptrend, and it should probably continue and break out. Quite a clear top on the 4-hourly, so a pull back into the Bollinger Band. Golden Cross, you'd be looking for a Golden Cross retest. It wouldn't surprise me at all to come back down to, well, if it were to do it today, for instance, back down to 107. Again, this is going to be shop central due to the central banking situations. It's the war of the rate hikes, isn't it? Really, is what's being played out. But yeah, I mean, it's still an uptrend, and it will remain an uptrend, provided we're above all these major moving averages, which are still diverging. But it does look like a pullback is probably required. Today we might see a pullback to 107.5, maybe 107 flat. Basically retesting that death cross. So that would obviously transpire into a bit more downside for risk assets and stuff. So a bit of a chop based on what we see there with the euro. S&P got rejected on the 200 exponential, a death cross retest again. Fair enough. Let's check the shorter term time frames to see if there's anything brewing there. No, it's just a double death cross retest. Okay, fair enough. Okay. But the Nasdaq is what we can hold on to. The Nasdaq is actually almost completely formed a golden cross with a conversion baseline cross saying continuation, upside momentum, trend, blah, blah, blah. So that's all pretty sweet, I would say. So there is hope on the Nasdaq rather than the S&P, which is, I wouldn't say there's no hope, but there's no signals of anything interesting brewing there. We can only assume that the Nasdaq might carry that forward, but with the banks being what they are, let's not get our hopes up. But the Nasdaq and Bitcoin, they usually were best friends. They are the ones who had the biggest correlation back in the olden days, all through 2021, 2020. That's where the correlation was. I'd say at the moment the correlation is more with gold. I mean, gold and Bitcoin have worked out pretty well. XAU. What am I doing? I am basically very tired at the moment. Told you my oldest kid's got chicken pox, so we've had a lot of late nights at the moment. So yeah, take it to the daily, and you can see that they basically mimics the same sort of performance. Down, V-shaped recovery onto new highs. It's basically a Bitcoin chart, isn't it, really? It's just basically doing the same thing. And so with that in mind, we're being carried with this Bitcoin. We're being carried with the with gold and Bitcoin basically doing the same thing. So if you're looking for any kind of correlation, you'd be looking for those. I know that altcoins especially are considered to be the risk assets of crypto, Bitcoin and stuff. Depends who you talk to. Some call them commodities, some call it like a forex thing. Some people call them like stocks for kids. There's no clear answer to exactly what's going on, who they're most correlated to. But based on the charts, I'd say that gold and Bitcoin recently have got the most correlation. And so if you think about that, then maybe that's probably the best thing to think about, which is why gold and Bitcoin's chart look great and S&P's chart not so great. And Nasdaq's is definitely different. It's a different chart with a different setup. So this is where things will start to really get interesting for me, to be honest with you, because we used to have symmetry across all boards. you know, everything was doing more or less the same thing. You know, we had the euro and the gold and Bitcoin and a few other things I can recall now that were all basically doing these golden cross retests, all moving in exactly the same way. And then over the last few weeks, they have worked, but because of the banking situation, the S&P basically broke that symmetry, and gold, euro, and Bitcoin continued to match, whereas stocks haven't. And so it is a little strange to try to think about what's actually around the corner for all of these, because there has been a decoupling of, we'll call it symmetry. You know, that you can't overlay the charts as much as you could have done if you're talking about S&P to Bitcoin and Nasdaq to Bitcoin. And although that Nasdaq is actually a lot more similar than the S&P. S&P's kind of broken and melted away. And the best thing I would say would be to overlay gold, really. Right, so I mean, there's not a great deal more to say today. I'll see if I can squeeze another video out for you this evening or this afternoon. Otherwise, feel free to join the live stream, because I'll be doing that tonight, Tuesdays and Fridays. We've got our live streams for Patreon members, so there's links in the description below. Other than that, I hope you have a nice day and a good weekend. Good luck trading this chart. Generally speaking, it looks like the trend's going to continue up. Doesn't mean that's immediate, but it generally would say continuation into the 30s, I would imagine, over a period of weeks. And then we should also, like I say, I do believe that we should get that alt season, that rotation at some point down the line quite soon, within a couple of weeks, I think now. Right, thank you for watching. Take it easy.